Creating a new world of inclusion and community as we talk Special Olympics here on Now Morning Show.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unique Not Different with me, Shamla. Today, I have the National Director of the Special Olympics Committee of Trinidad and Tobago, and it's a pleasure to have him here because upcoming throughout May, they will have a series of events, and he's here to talk about those events. So I would like to welcome Mr. Ferdinand Bibby. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, Shamla, and thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you actually. So before we actually begin, right, a prelude question. What is the difference between Paralympics and Special Olympics?
Well, Paralympics is a sporting organization that caters for elite athletes with disabilities, both intellectually as well as physically, although it's predominantly for physical disability athletes. It normally runs parallel to the other Olympic, so that this year, 2024, it would be staged a month after the other Olympics in the same city, Paris, in France. Special Olympics, on the other hand, caters for a wider level of disabilities or ability levels for persons with primarily intellectual disabilities, so that you must have an intellectual disability to participate in Special Olympics.
Awesome. So thank you for that knowledge. So throughout May, there will be upcoming events, right? Can you tell us how persons are pre-selected and selected for this event?
Well, we are affiliated to over 26 special schools, both in Trinidad and Tobago. So what normally happens, we invite the schools to send athletes, and we cater for the varying ability levels of the athletes in the various sporting disciplines. We will be having competition in 8 different sporting disciplines over the period of 7 days throughout the month of May. And these athletes would have been training since last year when we had our last games in May 2023. They went back and began their training cycle. So this is the culmination of that training cycle.
So we're seeing some pictures here, right? So can you tell us in terms of the type of events that Special Olympics have, especially locally, that we are involved in internationally?
Right. We offer activity in 12 sporting disciplines. However, on our national games, we would be catering for 8 sporting disciplines. We start off with athletics on Saturday. Then we go to volleyball on Sunday, bocce the next Saturday, basketball, equestrian, football, swimming, and powerlifting. And we also offer a Tobago version the 16th of May, where we offer football, athletics, and bocce competition for our athletes in Tobago.
Awesome. So you guys strive offer voluntary, right? Persons volunteering. So in terms of volunteering for the upcoming event, what has the response been, and what has the impact, of persons volunteering in the Special Olympics?
Well, volunteers have been tremendous to Special Olympics over the years. As you mentioned, everything in Special Olympics is about volunteering. Or no one is paid, everyone volunteers to their services. And that volunteerism takes the form of coaching, administration, technical delegates, persons, even the handyman, because it's a tremendous effort to stage the game. So we need persons just to move things around, to set up breakdown on the day. And we have been having that over the years. So our volunteers are a tremendous aid to the movement.
How can persons volunteer?
Well, it's simple. Just making contact with our social media platforms or via telephone, emailing us. So our telephone 685-5689, 391-1383, or our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, or emailing us at Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago at gmail.com.
How long have we been active in Special Olympics internationally, and what has been the impact globally?
Well, Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago was founded in 1982. Miss Audrey Clark is recognized as our founder, and we started attending summer games in 1983. We have consistently attended summer games since then, and locally we have consistently staged national games since 1982, with the only exception being 2020 and 2021 because of the obvious COVID-19 restrictions. But every year we have been staging these games for our athletes. We have even been participating in winter games since 1993 internationally.
So, in terms of sustainability of the local committee, right? In terms of funding, what type of funding you will receive, to be sustainable, to carry the athletes internationally?
Well, we have been begging throughout Shamla. We have traditionally had support from the Ministry of Sport. We also have our leading corporate partner, Digicel Foundation of Trinidad and Tobago. We have our water provider, Blue Waters Products. But those are only three entities that has consistently assisted us. We are always on the hunt. Even now, we are still looking for funding to ensure the smooth running of these games. And that funding or that support doesn't always have to be cash. It can also be in-kind services. So, for example, we have our volunteers to move from Port of Spain to San Fernando, or from San Fernando to Port of Spain for the respective games. So if you have a maxi taxi, Shamla, and you feel you are ready to join the effort, we will welcome those services.
So it's not only financially, but in terms of physical, volunteer, you need that in order to carry athletes from one point to the other, and then the different aspects. So I know that we have medalists from past events. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Well, yes, the athletes have been tremendous in their performances at World Games. The highest medal haul we have ever had was 2015, when we returned from the Los Angeles Summer Games with a total of 57 medals. Our most recent trip to World Games would have been 2023 at Berlin in Germany, and the team would have came back with 20 medals, 16 athletes participating in 4 sporting disciplines. So the athletes' performances over the years have matched the effort and even surpassed, because sometimes they would have performed above and beyond expectation. But what is more, Shamla, they have been transforming or moving into mainstream sports. So Special Olympics gives them that initial start, that taste of competition, and they have developed their skills and are now transitioning into mainstream sports and representing well. We have two athletes recently who would have made national teams in their sporting discipline. Trent Bettel, who would have been selected as an open water swimmer in 2022, and we had Tamika Campbell, who would have represented the Commonwealth Youth Games in 2018 and won a gold medal in beach soccer.
We have to wrap now, but before I need to ask this question. Did you ever see yourself being part of a committee like this? And two, what impact has it had on you as an individual?
Well, I have always been involved in sport. I never saw myself as being part of the movement, but from the time I would have been introduced to Special Olympics in 1984,
Right.
it's impossible to move on. Personally, it has helped me with coaching. I used to coach mainstream football, and it would have emphasized the whole idea of athlete-centered coaching. It also taught me administratively, paying attention to greater detail, looking for opportunities as much as possible.
Awesome. Mr. Bibby, I want to say thank you so much for coming and sharing this information. Guys, I urge you to reach out to the Special Olympics Committee of Trinidad and Tobago and volunteer, whether it's financially or your time or even a vehicle. So with that being said, guys, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into this week's segment of Unique and Different. As I always say, be good, be good. Bye, everyone.